In this activity, you'll examine several examples of dry fruits. Unlike fleshy fruits, dry fruits have a pericarp that become dry at maturity rather than soft and edible. Some dry fruits split open to release their seeds, while others remain closed and disperse with the seeds still enclosed inside the fruit wall. You will examine examples of both dehiscent fruits, which split open, and indehiscent fruits, which do not. Dry fruits can be divided into two major groups. Dehiscent fruits split open at maturity to release their seeds. Examples include capsules, follicules, and legumes. Capsules are composed of multiple fused carpels and open along specific lines to release seeds. Follicules and legumes are elongated fruits. Follicles split along one seam, while legumes split along two seams. In contrast, indehiscent fruits do not split open. Instead, the seed remains enclosed inside the pericarp and the entire fruit is dispersed together. Examples of indehiscent fruits include samaras, nuts, achenes, and grains. One of the most important roles of fruits is to help disperse seeds away from the parent plant. Plants have evolved several strategies for seed dispersal. Some rely on wind dispersal. These seeds are typically lightweight and may have structures such as wings or parachutes that help them travel through the air. Examples include maple samaras and dandelion seeds. Other plants depend on animals. Fleshy fruits attract animals that eat the fruit and later deposit the seeds in new locations. Some plants also produce hooks or burrs that attach to animal fur. Some seeds disperse through water. These seeds can float and travel long distances in streams, rivers, or ocean currents. A well-known example is the coconut. Finally, some plants use mechanical dispersal. In these cases, the fruit splits open and may even forcefully eject the seeds away from the parent plant. This occurs in fruits such as legumes and certain explosive seed pods. As we examine different fruits in this lab, think about how their structure might help transport seeds to new environments. Before beginning the activity, consider this question. Why might some plants evolve fruits that remain closed around the seed instead of fruits that split open to release the seeds? Think about different dispersal strategies and how the fruit might help move seeds to new environments. Dehiscent fruits come in several structural forms depending on how the fruit develops and how it splits open. A follicule develops from a single carpel and opens along one seam. Seeds are attached along the inside of the fruit wall. Plants like milkweed and magnolia produce follicle fruits. A legume also develops from a single carpel, but it splits along two seams, releasing the seeds from both sides of the fruit. Beans, peas, and peanuts are examples of legumes. A calyx develops from two fused carpels. When the fruit opens, the two sides fall away but leave behind a central partition where the seeds are attached. This fruit type is characteristic of plants in the mustard family, including mustard and radish. Finally, a capsule develops from multiple fused carpels. Capsules can split open in several different ways depending on the species. Examples include poppies, lilies, and cotton. All of these fruits share the same basic strategy. When they mature, they split open to release their seeds, allowing the seeds to disperse into the surrounding environment. First, we will examine a legume, which is a type of dehiscent fruit. Look at the peanut in its shell in the top left photo. The outer shell is the pericarp, which forms the fruit wall. In the bottom left photo, the shell is open. Notice how it is split along the seams, revealing the seeds inside. These seeds are the edible portion we eat. In the right photo, one seed is separated into halves. These halves are the cotyledons. Inside the seed, you should be able to identify the radicle and plumule, which are parts of the embryo. In your notebook, draw the open pericarp and seeds and label the structures you recognize. Indehiscent fruits differ from dehiscent fruits because they do not open to release their seeds. Instead, the seed remains enclosed within the pericarp and the entire fruit is dispersed as a unit. One example is the samara, which has a wing-like extension that allows the fruit to disperse by wind. Maple trees produce this type of fruit. A true nut has a hard, stony pericarp surrounding a single seed. Examples include acorns and hazelnuts. An achene is a small, dry fruit containing one seed that is not fused to the pericarp. A sunflower seed is actually an achene. A caryopsis, or grain, is similar to an achene except the seed coat is fused tightly to the pericarp. This fruit type is characteristic of grasses such as wheat, rice, and corn. Another type of indehiscent fruit is the schizocarp. In this case, the fruit develops from multiple fused carpels but later separates into individual one-seeded units called mericarps. Each mericarp still encloses the seed. Examples occur in members of the carrot family. Now examine a sunflower seed, which is an example of an achene. The outer shell is the pericarp, while the edible portion inside is the seed. Observe the cracked open shell. Notice that the seed can be removed easily from the fruit wall, which is characteristic of an achene. The thick pericarp protects the embryo during development, but its loose attachment allows for easier germination compared to a caryopsis, where the seed coat is completely fused to the pericarp. In your notebook, draw and label the pericarp and seed. Now examine a grain of rice, which is a type of fruit called a caryopsis. In a caryopsis, the seed coat is tightly fused to the pericarp, which means the seed and the fruit wall cannot easily be separated. This is a defining characteristic of grains in the grass family, including rice, wheat, and corn. Rice is a good example of how processing affects the structure of a grain. When rice is harvested, it is covered by an outer protective hull and several layers of bran. This form is called brown rice. Brown rice still contains the bran layers and the germ, which is the embryo. To produce white rice, the grain is milled to remove the bran layers and the germ, leaving mostly the starchy endosperm behind. This gives white rice its lighter color and longer shelf life, but it also removes many nutrients that were present in the bran and embryo. As you observe the rice grain, remember that what we typically eat as white rice is primarily the endosperm, which serves as the nutrient storage tissue for the developing plant embryo. In your notebook, draw and label the grain. Now compare the structures you observed. First, compare the pericarp of a legume to a drupe. Both fruits protect seeds, but the structure and texture of the fruit wall are very different. Next, think about the peanut seed and how it compares to the bean seed you examined earlier. Are they similar? Think about what type of seed a bean would be. Finally, consider the difference between sunflower seeds and grains. In sunflower seeds, the seed can be separated easily from the fruit wall. In grains like wheat or rice, the seed coat and pericarp are fused together, which is a key feature that distinguishes a caryopsis from an achene. Think about what environmental advantage this can provide sunflower seeds in terms of protection and germination. To summarize, dry fruits differ from fleshy fruits because their pericarp becomes dry at maturity. Some dry fruits are dehiscent, meaning they split open to release their seeds. Others are indehiscent, meaning the seed remains enclosed inside the fruit wall. These structural differences influence how seeds are protected and dispersed in the environment. Understanding these fruit types helps us recognize how plant reproductive structures vary across different plant groups.